Yeah, and to further expand, and that's fine, but to further expand on this and to let people know, you have that memo there in front of you. The project right now is planned and or budgeted as we started out in concept with this to only seek donations from within the community to get volunteer support. And then as we got into the project and we discovered that creek's there and the necessity for a bridge, then it was like, well, we might not be able to do that this year. You know, it may be a multiple year thing. All of a sudden the opportunity for the grant came up. It was so new that at our last Parks and Rec meeting, it hadn't even been published on the state's website. But I contacted the administrator because there was like a public commentary about it, and had his information was indicated on the website. Contacted him and said, you know, we're just posting that thing tomorrow. I'll send you a copy of it. Sent me a copy of the grant application. Had a chance to briefly look it over. So with that in mind, it's like, well, all of a sudden now this becomes a more viable project because there's potentially some money available out there. If we don't get this grant, we can fall back to our original plan, a very low budget, a fence only this year, nothing really else. And that fence can come from private sources, from fundraisers that could be held. In fact, after walking the property, you know, there's enough grass area already existing, and there's also a fence existing along here that we could use for one half of it. We don't need half as much of fencing as we originally thought we might need, because it already exists. Yes, sir.
I'm a little confused, and I apologize. Not with the concept, I understand that, and I'll come back to that in a second. Where on the property are you thinking of putting this? And if you could maybe just use the map behind you.
Yes. In this area, on your map, it'll be the wooded area.
Okay, all right.
Now, this is what the school is proposing giving. If you look on your maps, on the close-up one, you can see there's an existing fence right behind these two little buildings.
Yep.
Like, this is where you can park.
Yep.
There's no fencing here, just some wooden stakes in the ground.
Yep.
You remember the DDA had the 100 floors?
Yeah.
But there's
That whole
fencing
area there.
here and
Got it.
here.
Right.
And so you're, now I understand the, I was trying to get my arms around what creek you were talking about, now I understand.
The
It's
drainage
really
creek
the
that's
county.
Yeah, I absolutely understand about it.
So after we thought we'd have to come in here, clear the brush. We have 2 people volunteered their time and equipment to do that.
Yep.
We thought we needed to clear all this brush. There's actually enough grass area just to do this right here, right now.
Right.
However, with the availability of the grant and those people willing to do that, you could go in there, there's some beautiful trees on that property, it's just a lot of deadwood, a deadfall, overgrowth. And you got in there with a brush hog, you cleared that out, and then you ground up all the, what you're clearing out, and you can lay those wood chips down. There's already some carved out paths, as Mr. Appleton said, because at one point the DDA had a haunted house thing back there, and people made some natural trails back there anyways. So you'd have a dog park, you'd have some nice little walking trails, and potentially, if we get enough, if we get a grant, we get bridge money, a BMX park on the back side of it. That's what's bigger than it.
Utilization of that space,
Yes.
the bridge over the creek, are all things that fit in thinking that we had at the school. As a member of the school board who developed the bond to build the high school and all those things. Those are all parts of a puzzle that fit into bringing people, some of the things that Doug showed us with play spaces and near downtown, and you look at Brighton with the play space behind the lemon drop shop or whatever, and you in the Tridge and all of those things. That all starts to tie all this together in a place setting, because the creek is the impediment. We've got no way for people to walk across the creek, and that kind of a crossing would help that process. I know that the school has struggled with people who are allowing their dogs to run on the property, so this would give them an outlet for that.
They're very much for it.
Oh, that's what I'm speaking as one of 7, but
Right.
I'm pretty confident it'll be a 7-0 vote.
When we were there, in fact, Stacy brought in some pictures, because her and I walked the property on Sunday. There were people walking their dogs. There were two adults and 3 dogs out walking them on the property and on those fields. But another thing to point out is over here, this is Walt Spiegelberg's property, this is Myron's property. If we were able to gain easement on this side here of this creek, our Barker Road path is right here. So you can see people walking their dogs, eventually getting into our dog park either by foot or those that live in the southern area down here to use Jennings Road, come and park. So you have parking access and you have foot traffic access.
And
again, you're tying all these things together.
And I know there are, I know of a number of residents of the subdivision that's on the west side of 23, which is where I live, that walk over and walk up the exit ramp of 23 to get to the football field track, the old high school football field track, to work out, to run laps, to those types of things. So if you gave them an access, they wouldn't have to be, you know, walking in a dangerous setting in that process. And again, it creates a walking environment. I want to ask a question of Tracy, just to clarify. I think I know the answer, but I want to make sure.
Sure.
You're saying that you want up to $1,000 to develop a site plan that you want to submit for a grant.
Yes,
If
it has to be.
that has to be
There
attached.
site
So,
plan
yep.
attached to the.
I understand that, and the grant writers want to see all that to make sure there's
Exactly.
wherewithal and
Right.
buy-in by the community and all those things, that it's not just vaporware that they're proposing, that somebody's proposing. That if it doesn't happen, if the grant doesn't happen, the township is not committed to spend any more money on the
Oh,
project.
no, good gosh,
Right,
no.
okay, all
No,
right, so,
if the grant doesn't happen, if we submit grant application and it's rejected, we will come back to the township board with a dog park plan, but it's gonna be later, and it's gonna have some different financing
Right.
components to it. It's gonna have a whole lot more volunteerism attached to it, and we're gonna have a whole lot, we'll have firm cost estimates, and we'll have the ability it'll be a more specific plan at that point. But if we can capture the grant money, we've got to do it now, and we've got to put the grant application together. Yes.
if the grant is not awarded, if the grant is not awarded, the site plan can be used as the blueprint
That's
this
correct.
year, next year, or 5 years from now.
No reason why it wouldn't.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Any other questions from anybody right now? Yes, member of the audience.
Evening, my name and address. Michael Magda, 1045 St. Andrews Court, Whitmore Lake. Couple quick questions for you, and I don't mean to bog anything down. The recreational plan is approved by the DNRE, correct?
The plan itself?
Yes.
Oh, yes, it's been,
Your recreation plan is approved by the DNRE?
yes.
Okay. Does it, in the recreation plan that was approved, is a dog run or dog park in that plan already?
I don't think it's specifically in the plan, but I think that the existing plan language would support a grant application for funds for the dog park. And if it doesn't, we may have to amend the existing.
Yeah, I believe you'll have to amend it because you'll need an environmental study done on top of it because of waste. Because of the creek that's right there.
Dog waste?
Septic
It's
tank,
unclear right now whether the dog park will include the creek. So I don't know if you're talking about drainage into the ground and then into
Yeah.
the drainage.
for drainage and all that, that'll go into the creek that is there. Septic tanks are a big thing for the DNRE right now and have been for several years. So is animal waste.
Well, if,
And leaching, possible
Just to
leaching.
let both of you know, two things. Lucy Horton, who works with Carlisle Water, she works very closely with the MDNRE, the portion of the MDNRE that passes out these kinds of grants. She helps them establish their criteria. And it was on her recommendation that we could move forward with this without it being specifically laid out in our plan. The language in the current Parks and Rec plan was broad enough to be able to include this. And I think she's well versed with what their criteria are at the state level. With respect to any kind of environmental concerns on that existing property right now. It's a stormwater drain as we know it. Any requirements that the state would want us to do, we would obviously have to comply.
I would run it by her before, you don't have too many dog runs that are right next to a creek, because I think it's gonna change your whole game. I really do, because of leaching into the creek, especially being a storm drain.
The culture that grows up around dog parks is that the dog owners assume responsibility for removing solid waste.
Yes.
So
I know.
the other kind would be the only issue.
Well, you can go either way, I know. I just wanna point that out there
But it
because,
does exist currently.
because in the grant, they may require that, because you're gonna have to show in your site plan, there's going to be a creek. So there is a water impact. So they may end up, it may get real expensive. That's all, I'm just throwing it out there so you're aware
I
of it.
know you're very well on environmental things because of the nature of the work that you do, so I appreciate you bringing that perspective here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
What's needed from us now?
We need to make a motion to proceed forward with site plan and assistance in the grant application for cost estimates.
I support what Deb just said.
I'll second. So we had a motion by Sento, support. I'm sorry, motion by myself, support by.
Well, it'd be interesting, I'll decide what that is later.
Is there any discussion on this? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Okay, the motion is carried. Complete streets. Try to be really brief with this. All I'm going to do is pass out to you a handout. Or actually, this kind of details from lots what complete streets are. I think we saw a little brief overview of that from Ms. Lewan earlier, to let you know that the United States has adopted complete streets as part of our federal policy. The state of Michigan has adopted complete streets as part of MDOT, Department of Transportation strategy. The county, Washtenaw County, has adopted complete streets as part of their planning process. Looking at trying to get an ordinance that would work or fit for our community, we have a mix of rural and we have a mix of urban. And there's nothing that's straightforward on any of the current ordinances that would apply necessarily to our community. Watts is going to, they received a small grant and they're going to use our community to be a model community to create a complete streets ordinance for rural applications with a small urban component to them. So it will be no cost to us. They'll do this work. They'll help us craft this ordinance. We won't even have to send it to our legal department except for confirmation. And we should have this work ready sometime the end of, I think the work needs to be completed by summer according to their, or by September according to their grant. We would like to get it incorporated into our master plan, so we're going to try to shoot for a little sooner this summer. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Okay, we have two items. We have the May cleanup and bills. Right, okay, we have